prime minister in the West Bank for the Palestinians. His name is Salam Fayyad, and he's trying a new path for Palestinians. Now, in the past, of course, there's been terrorist strikes by Palestinians, a path of violence in some ways. Now, they will say, hey, we have state violence from Israel, et cetera, but it doesn't really matter. Of course, it matters a lot in how, whichever perspective you have, but in terms of getting a result, it doesn't really matter because the violence didn't work, right? Now, they also tried diplomacy and trying to do negotiations, and so far that hasn't worked. So, of course, there's a lot of frustration among the Palestinian people, and in steps Fayyad, and Fayyad is saying, hey, you know what? Why don't we try something else? And that something else is nonviolent protests. And to which I say, oh, thank God, hallelujah, somebody finally figured it out. And he's saying, look, it's not that we should just sit on our hands and not protest. That's not the right way to do nonviolence. We should be very enthusiastic and fervent, etc., but we don't need to go the route of violence because then, it loses your credibility, etc., and it loses you the moral high ground. I think he's entirely right about that. So what are the specific things that they are doing? One is they're saying, hey, we shouldn't buy any more goods from the settlements. If the Israeli settlers that are in the West Bank or East Jerusalem or Gaza, well, they're not in Gaza anymore, are making goods, well, we shouldn't buy them. It's hundreds of millions of dollars in goods that are being put into the Palestinian territories. I think that's the most logical thing I've ever heard in my entire life. If you're a Palestinian, how could you in good conscience buy anything produced by the settlers? That helps their economy, and it helps to get them rooted in what you believe is your land. That's crazy. Of course you shouldn't buy their goods. So now, symbolically, what Fayyad is doing is they're doing some gatherings, and then they're burning some goods, right? So you make up anything you want. It could be a cell phone, it could be cereal. I don't know the specifics, but they're not throwing it at anybody, etc. It's just a symbolic burning of the goods. We don't want to buy these anymore, right? So, okay, that makes sense to me. The other thing they're doing is they're attacking the barrier wall. Now, they think the barrier wall is in the wrong place. It should be on the 1967 border, according to them. It's not. It's encroaching on their land, according to them. So sometimes they'll throw stones or whatever at the wall. Now, it's obviously symbolic. Throwing stones at a concrete wall ain't going to do much to it, right? So now, I view this development as fantastic because this is what we've been asking Palestinians to do for decades now. Of course, the Israeli government responds by saying, nope, doesn't count. We still call it violent. They burned something. And they threw stones. And they're attacking the wall. Really? Okay, they're going at it the wrong way because they attacked a wall? Come on. No, that's just basically saying it doesn't matter what they do. We're going to call them violent anyway because it suits our purposes. They could get together and hand out flowers. They'd be like, destruction of wildlife, kind of violent. No, not buying it, right? No, I'm buying it, and I think it's exactly the right way to go. And what Prime Minister Fayyad says is, look, it's an Arabic word called sumud. It means steadfastness. He said we have to be patient, we have to be consistent, and we have to keep doing these form of protests until we catch people's attention. And now, they've been doing protests in Berlin, for example, for a long, long time, and it took a long time for the international press to catch on to it. But I love that they did, and I love their steadfastness. Now, I'm not sanctioning everything Fayyad's ever done. I don't know. I know this, right? And I know this is the right way to go. And the New York Times wrote about it. Hey, look at that. The American press noticed. If he keeps that momentum up, it is going to, I'm telling you right now, it's going to be 100 times better way of addressing this issue than the old ways they did it of trying to out-violence Israel. It's not going to work, okay? It's the wrong strategy. It's not the moral strategy, and I believe it's not an effective strategy. I think this is the more effective strategy. So if they keep it up and they do a little sumud, we'll find out if I was wrong or if I was right, and I hope I am. For everybody involved, including Israel, who then will hopefully get to a sensible peace with the Palestinian people.